All right. So Rick Pitino talked about the amazing buzzer beater shot against Kansas. Here's what he said.
But here's the amazing thing and the funniest thing I've ever been involved with. So we're going to run a play, but they got fouls to give. And Bells comes up to me and says, run power, which is a high back screen pick and roll. So I walk away. I said, okay, power. I walk away and said, wait a second. He hasn't scored a bucket and he wants to run a play for himself.
I think this is a complete understatement. I mean, he did not play good all game. The guards for St. John's did not play well at all. And the fact that Kansas even got back into this thing was because of a lot of the guard play. So to have this kid come up there and go, you know what? Yeah, give me the rock late in this case is one of the truly, truly amazing things I've seen because it's crazy.
And I'm thinking as I'm walking, I said, but he's Bells. And not only did he do it, he went with his right hand. So I'm real proud of him because to want the ball when you haven't made a shot is unbelievable. So both of these guys had a major impact in us winning tonight. I'm so happy for St. John's and the fans. We had great fans out here. And we get to go to D.C. And I'm just so jubilant, so happy for the fellas. We've taken it another step now, so it's just awesome. Proud of our guys, and now it's just starting. The fun's just starting.
So I think Bettino, everything he said here is right at the money. This was a game that neither team really played great, but the difference was St. John's made the plays that had to be made, and there were some calls that did not go their way. I understand St. John's plays aggressive defense. I understand St. John's, certainly committed some fouls late in that game, but remember, we have the goaltend that was called the other way. You had that backcourt violation that shouldn't have been a backcourt violation. You had some major things that in those moments, the refs blew it. And I thought there were a lot of calls that the Johnnies didn't get, or they did get a call on them that are like, that might be a little bit ticky tack in a sense, right? A ticky tack call. And now they get to go out and they get to move on to Duke after having played what to me was not a great offensive game at all. I think they have some momentum here, and if they're able to kind of make the game ugly like this was against Duke, to me, Duke just, they are beatable. Like, there's no question in my mind that they are beatable. And I think you look at these forwards that they have. I mean, this guy Zuby, who was their center, he kept them alive the whole time, right? Like, he was kind of almost like the heart and soul of this team throughout the game, and Kansas just could never get over that hump, and then you really thought late they could, and what did St. John's do? They just made that one play. A lot of people are gonna focus in on, well, they didn't hit the 3 ball a ton, they didn't look necessarily perfect. That's all well and good, and I get it, but in March, it's about surviving and it's about advancing, and this Kansas team had all the momentum in the world as soon as they tied this game. Everything was on their side. Then they had the foul strategy. It seemed like St. John's may not even get a shot off. And what happened? They had found a way to finish out the game, right, and to close the deal. And in March, that's what really matters. And this was during a time here with a game in which a lot of teams lose that. You have Kansas roar back. You could make the argument Kansas actually had the best player on the floor, especially offensively, and they found a way to close the deal with no guard play. The guards were terrible in this game, just terrible. Look, you can maybe say defensively they had their moments, but still, I just thought they were terrible. They were not controlling the game the way you have to, and there was a lot of moments of the bigs getting an offensive rebound, the bigs, doing something that allowed them to build the lead. In a lot of that stuff that the bigs were doing early on, the reason that Kansas made their comeback was because the bigs were unable to do it. They weren't securing a lot of these rebounds. They weren't getting those same turnovers. They were getting, and they weren't able to block some of the shots even, right? They were either and ones or the ball was going over. So it was all of that, and then to have a guard at the end of this game be the one to win it for you. makes up for everything else, right? Just completely makes up for everything else he did throughout the game. So I like a lot of what we're going to see from St. John's moving forward. I'm really excited to see what they can do against Duke. I think when you could win an ugly game like this, like that's, having seen Duke so far in the tournament, they haven't at least like I said, from my view, they've shown me nothing that I would think, "Okay, they're gonna be able to really blow out St. John's." And if this game is close, I like a lot of what St. John's can bring. I think the problem is for St. John's is they're gonna have to hit shots, and I do think they will. I think they're gonna beat Duke, but they're gonna have to hit shots, and they're gonna have to hit a lot of them. They cannot play like they did today on the offensive end and win that game. But if that guard plays a little bit better and the bigs keep the way they played today, Duke is gonna have to play a great Duke can't come out and play the way they have so far this tournament if they wanna win and beat St. John's. I think St. John's is a true team. I think they're gritty. I think Rick Pitino knows how to get this team like I said, even in this instance, I mean, it looked like this thing was heading to overtime just because of how it was all structured and how everything was going. Because, okay, they're gonna keep following, they're not gonna make the play, and then with that time, you get the one shot you couldn't give up. The one guy who was doing almost nothing all game, he goes ahead and he does that. That's magic. That's March, and we'll see what happens from here. So, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next